Manager exposes incredible injustice, Black CEO's card refused, 4.5B deal cancelled instantly. Malik Johnson stepped into the illustrious restaurant, the air thrumming with possibility and ambition. For years, he worked tirelessly, pouring his heart and soul into his tech startup that promised to breathe new life into his struggling suburban community. Families struggling like his own had inspired him, fueling his rise from a humble household to an epic $4.5 billion deal on the table, no small feat for a black man from just outside Atlanta. As he looked around at the chic decor, a wave of pride washed over him, mixed with the jitters of an exciting day ahead, but as the lunch unfolded in celebration of success, the tone shifted abruptly. Malik reached for his credit card, excitement stirring in his chest, only to experience a sudden jolt of disbelief. Card declined. The restaurant's atmosphere seemed to hold its breath as whispers rippled through the crowd around him. The manager approached, skepticism etched across his face. "I'm afraid this place isn't for everyone," he stated flatly, cutting through the joy like a knife. Malik's heart raced. The whispers grew louder, like a surreal echo of the past. Memories flooded over him, tales from his parents about their own fight for respect, battling a world that often defined worth by color or status. He felt exposed. The laughter and chatter turned into daggers, leaving him reeling in humiliation. He was built from resilience, though, and he wouldn't allow their judgment to define him. Back home that evening, his wife Lena could feel the weight of his sorrow as they huddled in their living room. The flickering light from the nearby lamp illuminated the shadows of struggles every hardship they faced recounted in glances and sighs. "We need to do something," Lena said, her voice steady but fervent. "It's time we raise our voices against this." Together, they rallied their children and neighbors, urging their community to confront the prejudices that stifled them. As Lena ignited a movement, courage and determination surged through them. Plans for a public rally took shape, a gathering aimed not just at reclaiming dignity for Malik, but at striking a blow against a systemic issue plaguing so many. In her eyes, he could see unyielding strength, and it filled him with something he hadn't felt in days, a flicker of hope. Before they could prepare for the rally, Malik faced an inner battle. Doubt loomed large. Would his words matter? Would they spark real change or fall into silence? But they had to try. All of them together, they aimed to transform pain into power as they stood at the brink of awakening something larger than themselves. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With the community at his back, Malik stepped up to speak at the rally, feeling every pair of eyes on him, heart swelling with hope and anticipation. This was more than about his moment, it was about justice, empowerment, and rewriting the narrative. Was this going to be the moment that changed everything? Would they stand together, or would they dissolve back into whispers? The air crackled with potential, and as he looked into the crowd, he felt an intoxicating mixture of pride, vulnerability, and an unshakable determination. The world was about to witness something extraordinary. Malik stood at the front of the crowd, his hands shaking slightly as he clutched the microphone. The faces before him, friends, family, neighbors, even strangers, filled him with an electric energy. For a fleeting moment, he felt the weight of all their hopes and dreams resting on his shoulders. He took a deep breath, drawing strength from Lena, who stood proud among their children. "Thank you all for being here," he began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. "Today isn't just about my experience at that restaurant. It's about every single one of us. It's about the countless times we've been judged by the color of our skin or the size of our wallets. Together, we fight against prejudice that says we're not worthy, that we don't belong." A rhythm built in the crowd, heads nodded, and murmurs of agreement spread like ripples across water. With each word, Malik fought against the echoes of doubt that had haunted him since the incident. He spoke of resilience and hope, of a future where the people in his community wouldn't just survive, but thrive. "I stand here not just for me, but for all our children," he declared, his heart pounding. "They deserve better than a world that values them based on the shade of their skin or the label of their clothes. We have the power to change this narrative." A roar of applause erupted, lifting his spirits even higher. Lena smiled at him, her eyes glistening with pride. They were connecting, igniting a fire that had been stifled for too long. He could feel the pulse of something magnificent rising within them, a collective heartbeat echoing hope, courage, and unity. As he continued, his confidence swelled. Malik spoke of their plans, the community initiatives, the scholarships, the support for local entrepreneurs. "This is just the beginning," he promised, the passion fueling his words. "If we band together, if we demand what is ours, dignity, respect, opportunity, then we will build better lives for our families and future generations." The crowd erupted into cheers, and at that moment, Malik understood. They weren't just here to support him. They were here to reclaim their power, to stand tall against the ingrained injustices that had tried to bind them for years. He gestured to the woman in the front, who had painted the vibrant sign that read, "Together we rise. We celebrate our strength." He shouted, his voice booming. "Our resolve. No longer oppressed, but empowered. We are visible, we are proud, and we will not be silenced." The energy surged like a tidal wave, enveloping him and lifting the crowd. With each shout, his heart found a rhythm that danced effortlessly with the cheers around him. Yet, even in this joyful chaos, a nagging thought lingered at the back of his mind. As the rally concluded with chants echoing into the atmosphere, Malik spotted the manager from the restaurant lingering at the fringe, listening. Malik's breath hitched. Would the man even understand the impact of what he had done? Before he could ponder further, Lena took his hand and led him back to their family. "You did it, Malik. You genuinely inspired them." The taste of victory was sweet, but a question loomed larger than the celebration itself. Had this truly marked the beginning of a movement, or merely a moment in their long fight? Encouraged by their spirits, Malik ushered his family toward home. They had taken the first step, and as hope pulsed in Malik's chest, he couldn't shake the feeling that the hard battle was still ahead. What would it take to sustain this momentum, to push further into the fight even when faced with setbacks? As they reached their doorstep, he felt a new resolve build within him. Would they be prepared for whatever came next? The world was changing. Could they hold on tightly enough to shape its future? Malik woke up the next day drenched in sunlight, the warm rays brushing against his face and nudging him out of sleep. He blinked a few times, memories of yesterday flooding back, the screams, the applause, the shared determination. He sat up, a smile creeping across his face as he looked at his family. Lena was still sleeping, her chest rising and falling peacefully. Their kids were sprawled across the floor in a tangle of limbs, secured in their own dreams. As he crept out of bed, Malik felt a shift in the air. The rally had ignited something inside him. A passion that was bubbling over, a potential he had only glimpsed before. But there was a nagging weight that wouldn't leave him. The restaurant manager still loomed in his mind. What would his response be? He grabbed a quick cup of coffee, scanning headlines on his phone. His heart sank as he read a notification. A video, already going viral, had captured the rally. It laid bare the deep-seated issues they faced. The crowd, the chants, the intensity, it was all there, but then he saw it. The headline that made his stomach churn: "Manager exposes incredible injustice, Black CEO's card refused, 4.5B deal cancelled instantly." A knot formed in Malik's stomach. He watched as the video unfolded, the manager's voice booming, spinning narratives that painted Malik as the troublemaker, the one who had pushed for a commotion when everything was fine. Malik felt anger bubbling inside him, palpable and fierce. It wasn't just about him anymore, it was about the entire community. The lies were cascading over them like a tide, and he knew he had to do something. He couldn't just sit back, not after seeing the way people rallied together. This was a call to action. He rushed back to the bedroom, shaking Lena awake. "Lena, we need to talk. It's the manager, he is spreading lies about me. About us." Her eyes widened. "What do you mean? What lies?" He explained everything: the article, the video, the way they were portrayed as the aggressors. Lena listened, her face hardening as Malik spoke. "What can we do?" she asked quietly, fire igniting in her voice. "I don't know exactly, but we need to respond. We need to make sure our community realizes the truth." Malik's heart raced as he spoke. He knew they had to act quickly before this narrative took hold. A cold sweat dripped down his back. "I'll reach out to the people we talked to yesterday. Organize something. Maybe we can hold another rally, but this time focused on truth and justice." Malik's voice faltered slightly, but Lena nodded solemnly. "I'll help. We will gather everyone, spread the word," she said, determination radiating from her. Malik's pulse quickened as ideas flowed like a rushing river. This was the spark they needed. But what if the fallout was worse? What if it made things escalate? As he organized their thoughts, the doorbell rang. The sound cut through his concentration like a knife. Was it the manager? A journalist? His heart began to race again. Malik exchanged a glance with Lena, uncertainty hanging thick in the air like the aroma of brewed coffee. They stood frozen for a split second, contemplating what awaited them on the other side of that door. As he reached for the doorknob, he couldn't shake the feeling that the next few moments would change everything. Malik opened the door slowly, the dread gnawing at his gut, unsure of what awaited him. Outside stood a man in a crisp suit, an imposing figure holding a clipboard. He looked up, blue eyes piercing, and introduced himself as a reporter. "I'm here for a statement regarding your assertion about the manager's claims." Malik's heart raced. This wasn't the face he had expected, yet it felt like a turning point. The weight of yesterday hung heavy in his chest, but Lena gave him a gentle nudge to urge him forward. "We need to talk," Malik said, his voice steadier than he felt. The reporter raised an eyebrow, stepping inside. Malik closed the door behind him, a rush of adrenaline pushing the fear aside. He quickly grabbed a chair and motioned for the journalist to sit. "It's not about what that manager said. It's about the truth. About our community." The man scribbled notes, his pen moving fast. "Tell me your side. What's your response?" Malik took a deep breath, feeling Lena's steady presence nearby. "The video misrepresents what happened. Yes, there was anger and frustration, but that doesn't mean we were the aggressors." He explained the rally's purpose, the hope that had surged through the crowd, the unity that formed. His voice was building with conviction. Suddenly, the kids stirred from their sleep, stumbling into the kitchen. Malik glanced over, seeing their drowsy faces. "Why don't you two go play for a bit?" he suggested gently. They nodded, the sound of soft feet padding away providing a brief moment of relief. The reporter shifted focus. "What do you want people to know about your community?" Malik felt a surge of passion. "We're a community that cares. We face challenges, but we come together. This goes beyond one event. We are fighting for respect. For justice." He paused, noticing the way the reporter's expression changed. Was he listening? Lena chimed in, her eyes fiery. "We are tired of being silenced. It's time to stand up for our truth. We are more than the sum of these stories." The reporter leaned forward, intrigued. "What's your plan moving forward?" Malik exchanged a glance with Lena, the understanding between them that they would not shy away. "We're organizing another rally, but it will center on truth and unity. We'll invite everyone, not just our community, to let them see who we really are." The reporter's eyes gleamed with interest. "When will this rally be?" "Next Saturday. We'll spread the word through social media, community boards, wherever we can. We need everyone to stand with us." Malik's voice was now a confident roar, reaching for the future that lay ahead. As they finalized the details, Malik felt a flicker of hope ignite in him. But just as quickly, his phone buzzed, pulling his attention away. He glanced at the screen. It was a message from an unknown number. "We know what you are planning. Don't push this further." A chill washed over him, tightening in his chest. Who was sending threats, and how did they know what they were planning? A shadow had crept into their light. Would they let fear silence them? Or would they rise to the occasion, united and unbroken? Malik clenched his fists, resolve bubbling up once again. "This is just the beginning," he said, meeting the reporter's gaze. "We won't back down." As the reporter nodded, Malik couldn't help but wonder what the next move would be. Would they be able to turn the tide, or was the manager's grip threatened enough to unleash something darker? The door to their future had opened, but what lay beyond it was still a mystery, shrouded in doubt and determination. Malik sat back in his chair, heart pounding as the silence filled the room. The reporter shifted in his seat, the clipboard resting like a weighty promise between them. The threats from the unknown number loomed, making every tick of the clock echo louder in his ears. This rally felt like their only chance, but with dark clouds gathering, he worried if it was wise to push forward. "I appreciate your openness, Malik," the reporter finally said, snapping his notebook shut. "But I need to know this isn't just anger. I need examples. I need stories." Malik looked to Lena, who leaned in closer, her determination radiating like a flame. "We have stories," she said, her voice fierce. "Real stories. Our truth is stronger than any threat." "Let's gather those stories," Malik replied, suddenly feeling a spark of unity within him. "We can share what this community means. I can introduce you to people who lived through this injustice, people who deserve to be heard." The reporter nodded, his interest piqued again. "That's what the world needs to see. It's one thing to report on a rally, it's another to share the lives behind it." Malik felt a rush of inspiration. "I'll set up interviews. If we can connect our pain to the actions around us, that'll speak louder than any threat." Just then, a soft knock came from the door. Malik turned and saw the two kids peering through the crack, curiosity making their eyes wide. "Can we come in?" one of them whispered. Malik smiled, his heart swelling. "Of course, come on in." The kids rushed in and climbed up onto the sofa, their giggles breaking the tension that had settled in the room. "What's happening?" asked his daughter. Her innocent question brought a warmth to Malik's chest. He thought about how deeply everything affected them, how much it mattered for these kids to understand their past and fight for a better future. The reporter watched the interaction, a softened expression on his face. "See, this is what matters," he said. "The future. Your children. They deserve a chance to grow up in a world that sees them as equals." "Exactly," Malik replied, passion igniting once more. "This isn't just about today, or just about us. It's about their future. It's about ensuring they can become whoever they want without fear." Lena smiled, touching Malik's arm gently. "We have the opportunity to change things. To show what our community stands for. If we can get people talking, we might just shift the narrative." Malik nodded, steeling himself against the whispers threatening to undermine them. "We won't be silenced. Not anymore." As the reporter jotted down notes, Malik's phone buzzed again. He ignored it, choosing to focus on the moment and the kids' laughter. Yet, the anxiety nestled deep inside him refused to let go. Each threat dialed up the stakes, raising the questions: who was behind the messages? Were they watching? "Let us plan these interviews," the reporter encouraged, breaking Malik from his thoughts. "The world needs to hear your voices." They talked for another hour, mapping out who to approach and what stories truly needed to be told. Malik wasn't just preparing for a rally anymore, he was about to build a tapestry of hope, weaving their community's voices into something powerful. Eventually, the reporter thanked them and left, leaving Malik and Lena standing together in their kitchen, the kids happily distracted in the living room. Malik felt a flicker of optimism. but it was tinged with unease. What would happen if their voices became too loud? He had taken a step into the light, and now they were committed. But with an uncertain future ahead, he couldn't help but wonder, would they have the strength to face whatever storms were coming their way? Outside, the sky darkened, and deep down inside, Malik braced himself for the fight ahead. Would they become the change they wished to see, or would fear snuff out the light before it even burned bright? The following days blurred together in a whirlwind of planning and anticipation. Malik found himself waking up each morning with that same tightness in his chest, the dim glow of his phone serving as a constant reminder of the threats lurking in the background. Yet, amidst the anxiety, a new strength pulsed through him. The thought of gathering stories' real lives with undeniable truths gave him purpose. Set for Thursday? Lena asked one evening as they sifted through potential interviewees. The kitchen table was overflowing with notes, photos, and scattered memories that told a greater story. Yes, he confirmed, glancing at the clock that ticked, relentless. We'll meet at the park. It's where many people feel safe. Their daughter peeked over the pile, her curious eyes dancing. Are you gonna talk to the people, Daddy? The ones with the stories? Malik knelt down, meeting her gaze. Exactly, sweetie. We're listening to what they have to say. Their voices matter. As the days continued, Malik reached out to families, friends, and even neighbors he hardly knew. Each time he told them about the rally, their excitement lit up the room like the morning sun. But with every positive response, the shadows of doubt loomed larger. The unknown number hadn't stopped, it buzzed with persistent intensity. Sometimes, he felt their presence like a gaze on his back, a predator watching from the thickets of despair. When the day of the interviews arrived, the air buzzed with determination. Malik and Lena set up at the park, surrounded by trees and the laughter of children. They were joined by 8 people: activists, parents, and young adults all ready to share their stories. Let us start, Malik said, holding his breath as they formed a circle. He felt the first tremors of something powerful take shape. One by one, they shared their experiences, the loss of loved ones, struggles with injustice at work, moments where they felt invisible and unheard. Each story dug deep, unearthing pain and resilience alike. It was cathartic, raw, and felt dangerously real. Lena held Malik's hand tightly as a young woman spoke about her father, a victim of racial profiling. He just wanted to go home, she choked out, tears slipping down her cheeks. Malik's heart shattered a little more each time they heard a tale of sorrow. But every tear that fell also watered a seed of hope. I never thought it would feel this heavy, Lena whispered to Malik during a momentary lull. But also, it feels like we're doing something. Like we're finally fighting back. Malik squeezed her hand back. We are. This isn't just noise. This is truth. As the last story was shared, they took a deep breath together, allowing the gravity of the experiences to settle. The group exchanged nods, knowing they had something vital now, a collective voice, but just as they finished the interviews, Malik's phone buzzed again, its screen illuminating a message that made his stomach drop. Stop or else. His heart raced, fear clashing with anger. The threat felt suffocating, but something shifted in him then. We have to share this. We must, he murmured. Lena looked at him, eyes wide. You mean yes? This isn't just about us anymore. We have a choice. We can stand together, or we can be silent. But we're not backing down. As they began packing up, a group of young adults approached. Confident, fueled by urgency, they asked Malik about the rally. He saw in their eyes the same determination he felt so fiercely. And as he spoke to them, Malik realized that what they were building, the community, the stories, the courage, was a movement. Their voices were powerful, but when he looked up, the dark clouds that had settled on the horizon began to rumble, threatening to rain down chaos. Would they be able to stand firm against impending storms, or would this newfound unity be shattered before it had a chance to flourish? It was time to prepare, but an even greater battle loomed ahead. Malik felt the stakes rise. What consequences awaited them if they dared to raise their voices louder still? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the park, Malik felt the weight of the day on his shoulders. The energy from the interviews still buzzed in his veins, but it was intertwined with that biting reminder of the threat looming over him. He looked at Lena, her eyes reflecting uncertainty masked by resolve. "Do we actually know what we're up against?" she asked softly, her voice trembling ever so slightly. Malik shook his head, swallowing hard. "No, but we can't let fear dictate our actions. We have to share these stories, even if it puts us in the line of fire." The young adults who Dee approached earlier lingered nearby, catching snippets of their conversation. Driven by adrenaline, they leaned in, eager to contribute despite their apprehension. "Can we help?" one of them asked, a spark of determination igniting his tone. "We want to be part of this." Malik's heart lifted. It was comforting to know they had others willing to fight alongside them. "Absolutely. Everyone's voice matters. Let us brainstorm how we can amplify these stories." They gathered in a tighter circle, tossing around ideas while the sun faded into twilight. Each suggestion was met with nods and enthusiasm, their creativity unfurling like the flames of a bonfire. One young woman proposed creating a video montage of the interviews, while another suggested hitting social media hard using hashtags to draw attention to their cause. "This isn't just about today," Malik reminded them, eyes gleaming with urgency. "It's about momentum. If we share these stories widely, we can shake the foundations of the system." Lena's hand touched his arm, grounding him for a moment. "Remember why we're doing this. It's about giving a voice to those who felt voiceless." Malik smiled, grateful for her reminder. As they continued to brainstorm, dread gnawed at his insides. The message on his phone pulsed in his mind like an alarm bell. Stop or else. What did it mean? How far would they go to silence him? Hours passed like minutes, and evening settled into night, fading their laughter into quiet resolve. Finally, as they packed up, Malik noticed the stars beginning to prick the dark blanket of sky. They were pinpricks of hope against the backdrop of uncertainty. But suddenly, Malik's phone buzzed again, and his heart sank. The number was the same unknown, haunting. He hesitated to look, but the compulsion was too strong. A chilling message awaited him: "You think this is a game? You'll regret this." He glanced at Lena, who was oblivious to the brewing storm inside him. The weight of the situation threatened to pull him under. Would they really regret this? Malik squeezed his eyes shut for a moment, trying to sift through the chaos of emotion. "We can't back down. We won tea. Not now." Tension hung thick in the air as they gathered their things. The urgency to act sparked through him again, igniting that shared passion. "Let us prepare for the rally," he urged. "Reach out to everyone you know. We'll launch a movement that can't be extinguished." As their group dispersed, Malik felt both exhilaration and dread surge through him in equal measure. The message lingered, heavy like lead against his chest, but he stood resolute. Moments later, he overheard two members of the group whispering nervously about the consequences that might come from their words. Could they withstand the backlash? Malik caught their eye, pushing through their fear with his steadfast gaze. "We're stronger together," he proclaimed, raising a fist. "We move forward no matter what." The small crowd around him erupted into spirited applause, their fears momentarily overshadowed by the promise of unity. But as they dispersed into the night, Malik couldn't shake the feeling that they had stepped into a realm they couldn't turn back from. His phone buzzed again, an insistent reminder that their rally was just the beginning. What awaited them in the days to come? As Malik looked at the darkened sky, a sense of impending storm loomed over him. Would their courage be enough to face whatever was to come? The following day dawned with an uneasy anticipation clinging to the air like the morning mist. Malik woke up to a world that felt heavier than usual. Sunlight streamed through his window, but the promise of a new day was clouded by the fear wrapped around him like a shroud. The threats he received were no longer just messages, they were looming shadows whispering that he had stepped too far. He quickly texted Lena to meet him at the local coffee shop. They needed to finalize their plans for the rally. It was supposed to be a simple meeting, a time to join forces and share ideas, but Malik couldn't shake the discomfort gnawing at his stomach. He arrived first, the smell of brewed coffee failing to soothe him, the buzz of morning chatter only amplifying the quickening drumbeat of his heart. When Lena walked through the door, she looked determined, but he could see the worries lined on her forehead. "Morning, Malik. Are you ready? Let's make this impactful, Lena," he said, forcing a smile. "We can't let fear stop us." They sat at a small table in the corner, laptops opened and papers spread out, their hands busy as they scribbled notes. They discussed speakers, banners, and the best ways to reach their community and beyond. Yet, every so often, Malik's gaze would flicker to his phone, the emptiness of its screen serving as a reminder of the storm brewing behind him. As they organized the materials, a thought struck Malik. What if we share some of the stories from yesterday at the rally? Real voices, real pain. It could push people to act. Lena considered it, her brow furrowing as she spoke. But we have to be careful. Exposing these stories could put them at risk too. Exactly. But we can protect their identities. No one needs to know who they are. Just then, a knock at the window startled them. It was one of the young adults from the park gathering, Sarah, who seemed breathless and anxious. She rushed in, plopping down next to them. "You won't believe what just happened." "What?" Malik and Lena chorused, leaning in. "I was at the store, and someone overheard me talking about the rally. They said it was dangerous." "We're all being watched," she said, her voice trembling. Malik's chest tightened. It was one thing to feel uneasy, it was another to know they were on someone's radar. "Did they say who's watching?" "No, but they seemed serious," Sarah added, a shiver running down her spine. The atmosphere grew thick with tension, an electric pulse of fear weaving through them. Malik had to act. This wasn't just about the rally anymore, it was about survival. "Okay, we need a plan. If they're watching us, we have to prepare. Share what we can, but maintain discretion," he suggested, feeling a surge of responsibility. It was one thing to have courage, it was another to ensure that the others weren't dragged into unnecessary danger. Lena nodded in agreement, her face set with clarity. "We've got to reclaim this narrative. We'll do it right, but we'll do it. No turning back now." Malik held her gaze, and for the first time that day, he felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps, despite the fear swirling around them, they could ignite real change. They spent the next few hours outlining every measure they could think of, finding a balance between urgency and caution. Deep inside, Malik realized this was only the beginning of a long road ahead. As evening rolled in, he pulled out his phone again, half hoping for a message, half dreading what he might find. The screen remained blank, but just as he was about to slip it back into his pocket, it buzzed. With a pounding heart, he opened it. The message read, "This is bigger than you think." What did that even mean? Who was behind it all? The urgency to uncover the truth clawed at him. They weren't just fighting for themselves anymore, they were fighting for a much larger battle. The storm Malik had sensed was fast approaching. How would they prepare for the fight against an unseen enemy? Malik felt a chill race down his spine as the words hung in the air. "This is bigger than you think." The message blurred before his eyes. He glanced at Lena and Sarah, who were deep in conversation about their next steps. His heart raced with questions. What kind of power was looming over them? Why did it feel as if they were standing at the edge of a cliff? Lena looked up, sensing Malik's distraction. "What's wrong?" He swallowed hard. "Just got a message. It feels like a warning. Something is off." "A warning?" Sarah's eyes widened, filled with concern. "What did it say?" He hesitated, then passed his phone to Lena. "Look for yourself." Lena's brow furrowed deeper as she read the text aloud. This is bigger than you think. She looked at Malik, the gravity of the situation sinking in. We can't ignore this. We need to dig deeper. Where do we even start? Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Malik's mind raced. He remembered the conversations floating around the park, the whispers hidden in the corners. We've got to talk to others. The people who've been affected, those who know something. But we have to be careful. Let us get to the community center, Lena suggested. Word is spreading, and we might find someone who knows more. As they made their way to the center, Malik fought to keep his nerves at bay. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows on the sidewalk. Each step felt heavier, like an anchor pulling him down. They arrived to find the place buzzing. People were gathering, murmuring in hushed tones, and Malik's heart raced. Inside, the air was thick with tension, mixed with determination. Faces lit up as they recognized Malik and the others. You guys heard? Someone called out. Things are getting worse. We need to act. Malik stepped up, hands raised to calm the crowd. Hey everyone. Lena, Sarah, and I just got back from a meeting. We need to talk about what's really happening here. Before he could continue, a figure pushed through the crowd. It was Theo, an older man known in the community for his wisdom and connections. Malik, good to see you. We need to discuss the threats. It's not just rumors anymore. You've heard something? Malik asked, his breath hitching. Theo nodded, eyes narrowing. There's a storm brewing. Some people are targeting us for speaking out. They don't want our stories to be heard. Fear washed over Malik in a wave, his hands cold and clammy. What can we do? We must unite. Peaceful protests, community meetings, get the press involved. Make our voices louder than their threats, Theo said, firm and resolute. Can we trust that route? Lena questioned. What if they target us more? Fear has kept us silent for too long, Theo argued, passion igniting his voice. We have to raise awareness. Awareness watches over us. Malik glanced at Lena and Sarah. He could sense the bubbling resolve inside them too. Okay, he said with newfound energy. Then let us do this. Let us plan a meeting, let us gather stories. Our truth can be our protection. But as Malik spoke, a buzzing sound interrupted. His phone vibrated on the table, pulling his attention. He quickly reached for it, feeling dread creep in again. The screen lit up with another message, different this time. You're running out of time. The words hit him like a punch to the gut. Malik's resolve hardened. They were on borrowed time, but that only fueled the fire within him. What would happen when they pushed against the darkness closing in? Would they be strong enough to withstand it? A sense of urgency surged in the room, and as eyes turned to Malik, they were no longer just expectant, they were fierce with a determination that sought to reclaim their narratives. Tomorrow was going to be a reckoning. But would it thrust them into danger or liberation? The moment Malik stepped onto the stage at the community center, a hush fell over the crowd. Faces from the neighborhood looked back at him, their expressions a mix of anticipation and hope. Today was not just another meeting, it was the beginning of their fight, a chance to reclaim their stories, to define their truth. The air was thick with tension, but he felt stronger than ever, fortified by the support behind him. Thank you all for being here, he said, trying to read the crowd. We're at a crucial point. We've seen the threats. We've felt the fear. But now, it's time we stand together. Applause surged through the audience, their determination palpable. From the back, Lena smiled at him, her pride illuminating the room, giving him the spark he needed. As he continued to speak, sharing the stories gathered from his neighbors, moments of vulnerability filled the space. A woman rose to share her personal tale, a harrowing experience of being turned away from a job because of her ethnicity. The room stirred with empathy. Each voice added a layer to their collective narrative, and Malik felt the momentum building. They were a tapestry woven with struggle and strength, raw yet resilient. In the middle of his speech, a loud crash jolted the crowd from their focus. The manager from that restaurant stood at the entrance, flanked by a group of men in suits. Malik's heart dropped into his stomach. The atmosphere shifted like a storm brewing on the horizon, an air of hostility and confrontation. "You think you can just spread lies about my establishment?" The manager spat, eyes fierce. Panic raced through the audience, but Malik stood firm. "Today is about truth," he declared, stepping forward, heart racing, eyes never leaving the manager. "Not just yours, but ours. We will not be silenced." Loud murmurs broke out, rising like a tide as the crowd stirred, emboldened by Malik's bravery. "Get out of here!" someone yelled, and cheers erupted, unifying their voices against the fear. Malik saw Lena clench her fists, pride and anger reflecting in her gaze. The manager tried to push further, but Malik raised his palm, silencing the chaos again. "We are tired of your dismissals, tired of your prejudice, tired of you treating us as if we don't belong. Today, we demand respect." The energy was electric. The men in suits, realizing they were outnumbered, hesitated. They exchanged glances, unsure of how to proceed against this suddenly unified front. Malik turned back to the crowd, lifting their spirits. "Let this be a moment of awakening. Our stories matter. Our voices matter. This is our community and we will define it." Cheers erupted, drowning out the men and enveloping Malik with a wave of strength. As the noise powered through, he saw the manager's face turn pale. Fear coursed through him, yet Malik only felt the fire grow inside. They were more than just individuals, they were a force. The incident at that restaurant had ignited a revolution, a community uniting against the perpetuated injustices. News cameras were rolling, capturing every moment. The rally turned into an uprising, a moment that would be forever remembered. "We will take this further," Malik called out, rallying them for future initiatives, public forums, and outreach. "This doesn't end here. We will stand together until every single one of us is respected." As the crowd cheered, Malik caught a glimpse of the manager's retreating figure. It was visibly clear that they were losing control of the narrative. With renewed determination, Malik's mind whirred with possibilities. With the rally deemed a success, Malik returned home that evening, hope radiating through him. He hugged Lena tightly, their children laughing in the background, and he thought about the future they were building, the resilience they shared. Yet, glancing at his phone again, he felt a creeping anxiety. What would happen next? Surely the pushback wouldn't stop. But this new resolve, combined with the roar of the community, felt like a shield against it. Days passed with the movement gaining traction, community members sharing stories and spreading awareness. They organized educational seminars, highlighting collaboration and coalition building among local businesses. Malik's heart swelled watching people find their voices, standing up against the injustices that once held them down. However, the threats did not cease. "We won't stop," he'd repeat, the warmth of Lena's hand in his. But the tension was ever present. Through the fear, they found motivation. With each new story, the support deepened. Finally, the day arrived for the public hearing with city officials. Malik felt his heartbeat quicken as he stood before a packed room, his breath steadying as he prepared to speak. They had a chance to create real change, policy reforms, equity initiatives, an opportunity to build a foundation for the future. As he looked out at the sea of faces, he saw not just his friends and neighbors but families, children, their legacy. "We won't back down. We have stories that demand to be heard." The room erupted into applause. When it was over, Malik walked out with a sense of pride and purpose. The fight wasn't just about them anymore, it was about generations to come. The resolve they forged transformed pain into power, resonating within the hearts of each individual united under the banner of change. With Lena by his side, Malik knew they could weather whatever storm came next. They proven that in moments of despair, hope bloomed fiercely. They didn't just reclaim their power, they ignited a movement. Together, they would continue to rise, building a community grounded in love, respect, and the unwavering belief that justice would always prevail. Now, it was not just Malik's victory, but a victory for countless others who longed for their voices to be heard. This journey had only just begun, and Malik would be ready. Now is your moment. You need to subscribe now, to support our cause and follow our story. Leave a like now to boost our message and help us reach more people. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this amazing journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and take action. Together, let us spark a universal change.